They will give you always the best rate.
They connect to Binance, HitBTC, LMAX, and Kraken.
What I like about Swissborg is that they have an amazing app.
Ah, wow, yo, yippee, yay, guys. It's pile number 16, and I'm super excited to be with you guys today. As always, we're going to dive into the love of the community and talk about what's happening on the markets, and then talk about how Swissborg is flourishing on a daily basis. As you guys know, my name is Cyrus Fazel. I'm the proud founder and CEO of Swissborg, always here to serve you. So today's content is going to talk about obviously about the markets. Where are we heading with the hikes happening right now very soon? Then talk about Ape token. Should we launch it, not launch it? Talk about as well some new tokens that we have launched and the future ones that we're going to be launching, and some new juicy yield that's going into the Wealth app. You've heard it, juicy yield coming into our Swissborg app. So let's dig right into it. News of the week. We have to start with the bears, guys. Solana, for the 7th time, had an outage. That's just crazy. NFT demands, it just went too big for the Solana, which was said the Ethereum killer that's been killed already 7 times when it's trying to show its speed. Long story short, they wanted to mint something. It didn't happen. Explosion of the chain, 7 hours outrage. I think so, to be honest. This is the 7th time this is happening to Solana. I know it's a great team behind, but it a little bit looks like where people like, okay, you know what? Let's just ship this, get a lot of money out of it, and let's figure it out, right? And that's a good mentality if you're in a business that's providing applications potentially. But if you're an infrastructure player, that's probably the worst way to bring things. Because if I was today about to do NFT, for example, on Solana, and many people that, by the way, talked about, well, we should not go on Solana. Well, this is a very strong case to say, like, no, I would not go on Solana. Maybe Ethereum gas price, talk about it later, is not the best price, but at least it works. And maybe other forks from Ethereum would be a better one, such as Polygon and Matic. So I really feel that here there's been a lot of disappointment. And with that being said, more disappointment again came from the Bored Ape Yacht Club. And again, the NFT sales was just insane. $560 million with over $200 million of gas price that was put into this. So this really shows again the ability of people to raise a lot of capital, but not backing this with a solid plan, with thinking how technology could happen. There's been a lot of issues going with people that already have apes and mutants that didn't get able to actually mint these NFT sales for the new lands that will be created in the metaverse. I feel a little bit, I feel a little bit weird about this one, because long story short, Yuga Labs, smartest guys in the NFTs, or at least those biggest accomplishments forever in NFTs. You know, they do their Bored Ape Club. They mint those 10,000s. Goes very well. They get a lot of royalties on every NFT sales. Now they're 5 billion, you know, worth in terms of valuation. They raise a big amount of capital. Then to say, oh, now we're gonna do lands. They try to do their sell. It doesn't work at all well. I mean, 200 million of gas prices is just insane. It's just, it really shows that, you know, they didn't, you know, think about any of this. It's super awkward. They mint their token. The sales of the land doesn't happen very well. And now they're like, oh, we should maybe think about going on another chain. I'm like, yeah. There's a lot of, you know, Ethereum compatible forks that work very well, like Matic, you know, so and many others, right? And this shows again how, like, the smarter guys that have been in this business for a long time, such as our dear friends at Engine, have created their chain a very long time ago, because they knew that this would happen, right? When you're going to this, and imagine in the future when you get really have this metaverse of the apes, if it happens. If it happens, obviously you have to think about this will never be on Ethereum for the time being, right? And we can't wait to prove a stake for that. So long story short, congratulations to those who bought these lands. And I know there's a lot of being trading right now. Speculation over speculation. has been the big thing about Bored Apes. You guys think that Bored Apes is here to stay or not? You know, please yeah, share your mind on that, and we'll talk about it right after potential listing of the ApeCoin. So market updates. Things are not looking good. The weird part, we talked about this many times, is that Bitcoins is an inflation edge towards the US dollar, right? It's an inflation edge towards potentially as well stocks, and has been playing this for a long ride. But as it has become more a way to institutional people to get into this market, unfortunately, we have an extremely strong correlation with the crypto market and the stock, especially with tech stocks. And we're seeing here a very, quite similar pattern, which is a bit on the downward. And the downward, we could see here, it could go down to 32,000 if we don't stay at this 38,000 essentially support. And it could bring then lower to the next one, which is 28,000. That doesn't mean it's happening. But what is happening is that the Fed is about to announce, I think so tomorrow, or in the coming days, how much essentially they're going to hike the US interest rate. And by hiking the US interest rates, what happens, people don't understand, is that it's a good way to fight inflation because people borrow less money. But if people borrow less money, people invest essentially less money. If people invest less money, they, essentially the economy goes in a way where people are essentially buying less, and therefore the growth is not as expected. And on the other side is that a lot of essentially investments applies to more secure type of investments, such as interest rates or governmental bonds or even corporate bonds, right? So you will see all the money that was potentially in stocks goes to like more secure type of investment. And by doing that, well, what does that do is that essentially, again, the macroeconomic picture is that these companies have less money to spend and the stock market is as well. And potentially this has a strong negative correlation towards crypto. Does that mean it's going to happen? It's a very hard thing to say, right? You never know what happens with crypto. They could have suddenly, we talked about Central Africa happening, accepting Bitcoin as a legal tender, but maybe other countries and maybe things that have different other crypto-related news could really then boost the market, right? And we've seen this multiple times. However, again, COVID, the war, inflation, and as well the hikes of the rate it's not really a good sign for this. So what's the advice? Obviously, the yield, higher secure type of investment is USDC, sorry. Or if you want higher risk, well, there's USD obviously for that. Nevertheless, it's always good to keep your crypto and even more importantly, your CHSB. Community Center of the Week, I think so with April Fireborg. This has been a tremendous month at Swissborg, and thank you, Philly Danken, to everyone. I think so. It's very excited to see that the German community is sending a lot of different hearts and green hearts, obviously. We're going to have the AMA that's just going to happen right away. So, yeah, very happy that Schweizborg is happening. I wanted to highlight one of our coolest and funnest guy of all our community, which is Ibrahim Zagir, Bra43. You probably have noticed that he makes the funniest videos on Swissborg. A lot of different songs that are really, really cool. One that was, yeah, a lot of different other songs that it is. So please, if you haven't checked it, follow Bra43 and you listen to his beautiful voice. He wants to create a band. I know there has a lot of singers, instrument players, artists at Swissborg. So let's make it happen and make the most viral video there. It'll be really cool. Counting on you guys. And thank you, Brian, for being so fun.
Yo.
Swissborg, Premium Genesis.
If you want to be part of our wonderful community and work full time. Well, there's so many different positions that are there. A new one is QA engineer. There's as well growth hacker for the listing of different tokens, but as well thematics as well. So this is going to be a really cool way for the growth hacker. Is really someone that has a really data concept, trying to visualize how we could grow in terms of community members and have like different campaigns that could do so. So someone between product, marketing, and as well data, and has that great ambition to grow our wonderful community members from 700,000 to whatever a few billions in the future. So this is the announcement of the week. Ape token was supposed to list it in the past, but we weren't able to do so. And now the big question is that should we be launching Ape token or not? A lot of people within Swissborg are saying this is a great thing. It's already on the track. Why not? And some people are like, well, it looks like it's a bit late. The party is pretty much over. Is this a good time? Well, is it a good time to buy or is it a good time to sell? That's the one thing, right? So people could probably enjoy both there. What's your thoughts? As I said, I think that Ape and Yuga Labs has been one of the most interesting growth companies of this last 12 months. They have showed this tremendous amount of community development. They've failed a lot on the technological side. However, things do happen in crypto. One reason, when you grow too fast, then you make a lot of mistakes, and it's very hard to vote from a community. Go from what we actually managed to do, which is going from great ideas to great technology. It's very it's something that takes a lot of time to hire and train the best engineers, best product people, the best data guys to get to there. So what's your thoughts? Should we or should we not become apes? As you guys know, BNT is on fire. We listed at 4%, but I think so now it's like over 30%, if I'm not mistaken. We're getting on Bancor. For those who don't know Bancor, again, they are one of the most interesting projects. The creators of the auto market making for essentially 35% right now for the Genesis. Great. They are one of the first guys that have created the whole DeFi protocol. So, long life to BNT, and it's great that the version 3 is here. What's your thoughts? There's as well new tokens in DeFi that's going to be launched this week with a very high yield too. Can't say the name, but it's a great thing to added maple syrup. I'll just leave it there so you to think what it is. And there's another one too, but like every week, we have a lot of cyber school graduation pitches, and I really like this idea here, which was to gamify the community aspect by education, building community, investment, and bringing games together, where essentially we'll be able to have a Swissborg League and really make you guys most as active as possible. The badge would be Mintons of POPS. Could be a good way to really bring a lot of people to not only tweet and have fun, but get reward in a very meritocratic way. So I don't know about the Borg apes, but what I believe is the community, how we could have fun on a daily basis and grow it the best way. So I definitely like this very much, this project. And the second one, which is to create essentially kids accounts. I'm sure a lot of people listening here are gonna be like,
Iris, when is this happening?
So look, the team is even pushing internally, so hopefully it will happen days. This one, what it is essentially a way to give kids account, and maybe going forward and get them to download the app in a kid's way, and where people can start like gamified way to learn into crypto and eventually get to drops and tokens and how you could spend these tokens on whatever you want in the future. I think so. It's a brilliant idea. Obviously, this is a very ambitious, but at least let's get the kids account. Big product update as well. The Thematics website is on. If you're not part of this list, please bring that heart together. We're going to see what is the future of the Thematics. So you guys realize how the Thematics is going to be a massive play into the industry. Today, over half of the stocks in the world are put into ETFs. Okay, Vanguard, Schwab, but more importantly, BlackRock control the markets because they create different ETFs that have these different thematics, right? So this is exactly where Swissborg is taking part, is to say like, okay, you might understand that the future of gaming is metaverse, right? Or play and earn games. But how do you know which game to pick? It's very hard to do that. Now when you know in the future is quite easy, but at the present right now, what is going to be the best next new games? What's going to be the best next blockchains? What would be the best new type of whatever investments? Always very hard to know which ones to pick, but to know where we're heading is quite easy. I think so. This is one of the reasons why Swissborg are going to be flourishing. I'm so excited. I cannot reveal, but we're going to do such cool different ways to be part, become a hero, to change the world together at Swissborg. Couldn't be more enthusiastic about this new business silo that we're bringing in. All of this thanks to you, and let's look into it in the very, very near future. Swissborg chart of the week, another business silo that's being developed. It's going to be, as you guys know, the peer-to-peer. And so far, we already have 1,000 average transactions per month, which actually has a 7 million roughly euros, and the median transfer is about 110 euros. So that's really big already. That's happening within users. I know that I send a lot of tokens time to time. And I think so this is just going to grow more and more, and we're very, very excited to see what's your thoughts and how eventually you're going to be able to pay with your tokens and with different shops or different restaurants or festivals or whatever you think. But this peer-to-peer loving culture, I just think it's super great, and I hope that this becomes viral and it becomes a great way to how Swissborg could enter into the payments in a better way, and obviously with a green heart. CHSB data of the week. All in all, I think so we have pretty much the same amount of premiums, 319, still not 500 unfortunately. Same staked, same amount of CHSB in the yield. Price has declined with the markets. Protect and burn is growing on a daily basis, which is good with 3.5. We have 132,000 users. Which is great, but we could get obviously better than that. Which brings us to the community and index.
Community index.
It was 7.8 last week. We had a great referrals happening to 2x. We had a big amount of activity coming from actually Turkey, and unfortunately, this week, Gas Your Guests not going very well, guys. Long story short, 5.8, which is one of our worst mark we ever got at Swissborg. Roughly the CHSB is doing average. The volume of the app is going pretty much average. The activity has dropped a bit. Social media is doing great. Thanks for this. CHSB holders, a bit negative because we had the 2x campaign and had a lot of invitations go with that as well. So a lot has to do as well with the two last cohorts, which is that we had obviously the week before a great campaign that worked well, but that doesn't mean that when this campaign doesn't still on and it should be growing. So sad enough to say that's not a great week, but hey, I have to join. Raining, snowing when it's cold, windy, and this week, one of those. So let's make next week. Tomorrow night is Crypto Night with our wonderful Loom Network, the Paris edition, which Alex was with the crew over there, and Sarah Diana from Loom Network is going to show how they are changing the game. So it's going to be very exciting. If you saw the one of last week with Sweatcoin, it was really interesting too. This new play, and I used to walk to earn, which is really, really cool. Always loving Crypto Night. If you have any suggestions, just let us know. I'll make it happen. Like always, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And make sure that you bring more people to love what we love. Guys, another week, not a great week for crypto, not a great for Swissborg. We know that sometimes there's good times, sometimes there's bad times. All of you guys to think about this and to try to figure out how to enjoy the most difficult. How to look at things where you're saying like, okay, well, it was tough. What did I learn from that? What do I learn from how get better by what we're doing. So right now at Swissborg, this is exactly what we're trying to do. As you notice, there's a lot of tokens that are being listed more. Why? Because we transformed the company from a big regular company with silos to one that have squads. And we have a listing squad, the YODL squad, CHAB squad. And all of these different squads, they operate in a more autonomous way that enables them to have more leadership, or to essentially build a better and a faster and a more scalable way. I think so. This is something that you're going to see. I know by Thursday as well, there's a special surprise. You guys have been waiting for a long time. That's going to be the vote. So that's going to be really, really exciting to see how happy you're going to be about that. It's going to be really, really good. Can't say more than that. And as always, guys, healthy, be wealthy, love our seat. Take care. Bye.
Through Swissborg, all assets will have a fiat gateway. And here is the thing.
Premium features gives you 0 fee trading.
It's an amazing fiat gateway.